Bet you didn't think you'd see my face. It is a recap of Friday's 10 games in the NBA. Yeah, it's Friday. It is Michael M.B. Bolton. Michael?
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy, your daily NBA fantasy podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd and I am the original Green Witch. I'm also the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com, and you can find me on Twitter as always at redrock_bball, on TikTok at redrock_bball, and on Instagram at Locked On Fantasy Basketball. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Start the season with a big return on FanDuel. Place your first $5 bet and get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Go to FanDuel.com to get started. We've also got a newsletter for your favorite team. Head across to LockedOnDaily.com and subscribe to your favorite team's newsletter. Also, subscribe here. Double bang, thumb, comment, all of that stuff. That's how we continue to grow and how I hope that I continue to serve you with fantasy information, content, fun, laughs, whatever else it is that you want out of this show. Occasionally, I will chuck in a Friday review show, not often. Again, I've got family stuff that happens across the weekend here, but this is an opportunity to do it. It sort of it'll be long, but it will be a mini show. We're not going to do most added and dropped waivers. I'm not even going to do lines of the night. We're just going to bang straight in, and we're going to bang straight in and talk about the games. There were 10 of them across the NBA. There were interesting things happening. We had reversals of form from performances on opening night, and that's just what happens across the fantasy landscape. So let's dig in and take a look. The first game we're going to take a look at is Brooklyn going up against the Orlando Magic. 116-101 is your final score in favor of Orlando. We'll talk about the Brooklyn side of things. No, neither of these teams made any change to their starting lineup. Dennis Schroeder, though, continues to be featured. Now, that is a great way to lose games, but also a terrible way to develop players. He had 20 points with 6 assists. He shot really well. I don't love his long-term value, but those numbers in that game, that's fine. That is okay to roster him. I just don't think there's much long-term appeal there. Cam Thomas, 24, 6 and 3. No defense in this one. Bad field goals, good free throws. He's just doing what he's doing, and that's great. That is what you wanted out of him. Well, Dorian Finney-Smith turned in a strong game. He's in sort of streamer territory here, at least until Nick Claxton gets back into the starting group. Cam Johnson. You love the minutes, 35 of them. Unfortunately, only 12 points. That is 2 mid-games in a row. In a 10, I'm not really sure that he's going to be a must-hold guy, but in a 12, I think I probably would. Yeah, I'll tell you what I wouldn't do, though, is hold Noah Clowney. 7 points, 16 minutes. We wanted to see what his minutes would be. Nowhere near enough. He will be valuable much, much later, so don't worry about it. The other guy that people were not really clamoring over themselves to grab, but I had questions about it. Jalen Wilson played 32 minutes last game. He went scoreless in 13 minutes here. That should be a sign that we're not trusting that sort of a player who will, I think, have value again later on in the season, but it's not here now. As for Claxo, just be patient. 20 minutes on his minutes limit, 4 and 5, steal, block, totally okay. Well, Ben Simmons, except he hit free throws somehow. 7, 6 and 3, steal and a block. Again, totally reasonable to hold him. The wheels will come off at some point, I'm pretty certain of that, but who cares? For now, it's okay. If we take a look at the other side of the coin, the other side of the game, that is the Orlando Magic side of the game, this was obviously another big win for those guys. What I'm very interested in, look at the huge minutes from Franz Wagner. 39 minutes, 29, 6 and 5 with 3 threes, and he shot the ball unbelievably. Now, there is going to be a reckoning here, but I can't wait for a really big shooting season from Franz again to prove the narrative that one season does not define what a player has done or will do. It just doesn't. He's been awesome, and it will regress. His teammates are doing a fairly good job of showing that as well. Paolo Banchero. Now, that is a really low-volume game from Paolo. Now, he didn't shoot well from the field, granted. 33%. He didn't shoot well from the line, but he was great in the first game. So, we don't really know how it's all going to go down, yeah? 33 and 55 is terrible, but 15, 6 and 9 is good. So, it's going to be a back-and-forward sort of situation. Big minutes from Wendell Carter, and I think part of that is because Jonathan Isaac was out. Isaac might play tomorrow. Carter had 8, 11, and 4 with 2 steals, which Which, if he played like that every game, we would want him as a 12-team league guy. As for now, I think he's more of a back-end streaming sort of player. While KCP, you can look at that. He Richie Benoed. 2 threes, 2 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks. Fantastic. We know that no one's getting 2 steals and 2 blocks per game in 26 minutes. The 26 minutes is what the concerning part is. Will he continue to do that? I don't know. He's fine as a streamer. Don't think he's must roster. And of course, you're going to be concerned about Jalen Suggs, who really didn't play that much. 22 minutes, 10 and 5 with assists and 2 threes. Now, I don't think that he's losing his job. I don't think that he's keeping in these low minutes. But obviously, we want to pay attention to it. The first game, there was a lot of foul trouble. This one here, not as much of an issue there, but they were, again, in control of this game pretty early. I'm not going to worry about it, but it is something to watch. While, for the second consecutive game, Mr. Black played really good minutes. Anthony Black, 26 minutes, 10, 3, and 5 with 2 blocks. Now, everyone knows that I did not like Mr. Black as a prospect. I didn't think he played very well as a rookie at all. And I heard multiple people, very politely, which I love. I love a polite discussion. I also love telling people to go suck on it and get out of here, but that's a different story. Hey, Josh, maybe you should have another look and see how Anthony Black is playing. And you know what? I did and went, he is playing much better. He is. Now, he is nowhere near a 12-team out, in my opinion. 26 minutes, 10, 3, and 5 is not going to cut it. But he shot well. He got 2 blocks. He is looking 100 times better than last season. So I'm always willing to take in new information and change my opinion on someone. And he looks much, much better. That's a huge positive. We'll see what his role is. We're not adding him in spots, Anthony Black, but good stuff. Very interesting that Jet Howard just not in the rotation, while Gary Harris, who was awesome in game 1, didn't do anything here, which, again, not that much of a surprise. That is usually how a lot of those things go with that level of player. The second game of the day, your undermanned Philadelphia 76ers. They couldn't handle the noise. They couldn't handle the heat. They couldn't handle the pressure of our boys from up north. The Toronto Raptors win at 115-107. Of course, the Sixers had no George, no Embiid. And this one, we got big stuff out of Oubre. 39 minutes for the most sexiest man in the world. 28 points, 39 minutes. Now, this is another great illustration. You look at that and you go, oh, this is fantastic. We love Oubre. Look at that. 2 rebounds and 2 assists does not cut it. Will he take 17 shots and 8 free throws in a game? Nah, he never will. It'll just not be a regular thing. He won't shoot that well. The 2 steals is nice, but 39 minutes and 28 points is an outlier. It's great. We love this while George is out. It's just got no hope of sticking. They did make 2 changes to their starting lineup because, and again, I'm going to be more liberal with this, Eric Gordon is washed. So he's out of the rotation, out of the starting lineup, and Kyle Lowry, who somehow is still better, he started. They also moved KJ Martin out and started Caleb Martin. 2 very, very obvious moves. Caleb played big minutes and was okay. 11, 5, and 4. That is very strongly 14 team, not really 12. While Tyrese Maxey played 41 minutes. Like, calm down, Nicholas Nurse. Work on new logos. 24, 2, and 4 with horrendous shooting, but great from the line. That has been a problem so far for Maxey, obviously. Drummond got early foul trouble, so don't be too worried. He still ended with a huge line. 11 and 9, 4 steals and 2 blocks. Unfortunately, both his percentages, well, they were Keontae George level. Just thinking. As for Lowry, I actually think he is streamable. 14 points, 3 steals, 3 threes. He got 5 or 6 assists in the first game. That's 100% streamable while players are out. On to our Raptors, because that's what we're all here to listen to. We're all jam-packed, hyped up on Poutine, while Scotty Barnes turns in, after, honestly, a bad game, he turns in an awesome game. 36 minutes, 27, 5, and 4, 2 steals and a block. Jakob Poeltl also, after a bad game, has a big one. And a really good game. 19 and 9 with 4 blocks for Poeltl, and somehow he was 9 of 11 from the line. That is sometimes the things that happen. We'll go through the other starters. Ochai Agbaji is still bad, although 12 and 8 is not terrible for him, so to be fair, I'll give him a pass. The Prestige Penis Grade A Dick was not able to keep it going because he fouled out in 24 minutes, 8 points, and the other starter, Davion Mitchell, also fouled out with 8 points in 19. Now, both Quickly and Barrett are going to be out again, I believe. Barrett's questionable. I don't think he plays Saturday, and that means that Mitchell, Agbaji, and Dick will get more opportunities, but really, how badly do you want to hold on to Dick and Mitchell or not Agbaji, but for that one game? You might, because they're there, but the value is relatively low, right? I know you all want to hear about old mate John Mobo. That's a huge game. Without question, a huge game. 24 minutes for Mobo, 12, 9, 5, 2 steals, 3 blocks. Unbelievable stuff. He shot only 38%, but he got to the line a million times. That is a huge game from Mobo. A huge game. Is it based in any level of reality? Probably not. Probably not. Because there are key players out. Quickly, Olynyk, Brown, all out. RJ Barrett, out. Now, you could say, well, Mobo is part of their future. Like, is he? He's like the 33rd pick in the draft. He's a second rounder who did pretty well. He will get opportunities. He will be in their rotation. He will have strong value, I think, at some point. But at the moment, I don't... Like, if Olynyk plays, and when he plays, or when Barrett's there, I'm really not sure how much Mobo matters. Now, again, it is absolutely no problem at all to add Mobo. You don't get this game very clearly. And you can go back and look at game one and go, okay, well, that wasn't exciting. This is great. It's really good. He looked fantastic. The numbers are great. Look who they were up against. Look at that part of it. No problem with adding. Be very, very cautious of who you drop. It's very unlikely to me that John Mobo maintains top 120 value, top 100 value from here to the end. He might have it for 3 games here. He might have it for 15 games in March. Seems incredibly unlikely to me that he's able to maintain that pace all the way through. I don't know. I don't know how we could get to that level where John Mobo is, cooking everybody continually. We've got more games to get to. But today's episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. PrizePicks is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, PrizePicks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on 2 or more player projections for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. So run your game all season long on PrizePicks. It's the best way to get action on sports in over 30 states, including California, Florida, Georgia, and Texas. Some may say they're the only important states. I don't know. That's just what I've heard. PrizePicks is the only real money day. That's a bad wink. This is better. PrizePicks is the only real money daily fantasy platform with an injury insurance policy as well. So if one of your players leaves in the first half hurt and does not return in the second, well, that player doesn't ruin your lineup. They just get taken out. It keeps your lineup alive. So go ahead and download the app and use the code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Download the app, use the code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, run your game. Okay, let's get in now and we'll look at the third game of the day, which of course would be the right way to probably go about this. We're talking about the Detroit Pistons and the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Cavs win at 113-101. It's a brutal start to the season for Detroit in terms of the matchups that they've got. They've been somewhat competitive in these games, but obviously don't get the victory. The starting lineups for both of these teams remained the same. No changes there. But we look at Detroit, we've got to start with Cade, who played 35 minutes. He had 33, 4, and 6. No defensive stats, and you'd like him to get to the line more, but reverse the bad field goals from game one. And he is cooking at the moment. And this is sort of the thing that we look at when we talk about Cade, and we go upper level production, top level, best case outcome, like it's top 15, and we're not far off that. The Thick Hogsman was a little bit better, and if Toby Harris just shot a couple of extra shots went in. It was 14-5-5 with a steal and a block. Unfortunately, they didn't. So it's 10-5-5 and a steal and a block. You want him to do a little bit more, but I'm not going to say that I'm completely down on that. While Jaden Ivey, pretty good. Ivey only getting 29 minutes while the others get 35 continues to be something to watch. He did have 4 fouls, so watch that part, but 22, 5, and 3 for him. And I tell you who sucks at the moment, right now, the passport legend, Jalen Duren. He's just not playing well. 29 minutes only. He did have 5 assists, but he was 1 of 4 from the line. Another one of those ones where, again, I'm guilty of this, and I am trying to be way better. When we say Jalen Duren is good for free throws. Maybe, or maybe he's not. He had a good free throw season, but he was bad the year before, and this is bad. He also sucks on defense, and there's no upper limit to, or there is an upper limit to his minutes, because they don't play him more than that. I just think at the moment, and I loved him as a prospect, at the moment, I think he might be bad. We hope he gets better. We're holding him, but yeah, not good. Speaking of bad, Alf Stewart. The Flamin' Galah had 0 points with a steal and a block. He didn't take a single shot. He played 11 minutes, and Paul Reed took some of his minutes. Yeah. We're obviously not rosting Stewart anyway. Surely not. This is a safe space. No one will care. Drop it in the comments. Do you have Isaiah Stewart on a standard league roster? Because I feel for you, and maybe we need to talk about some other issues in your life if that's the case. Timmy Hardaway started, but it was Leaky Beasley who popped off for 13 points with 3 threes, but that's all these guys are. Beasley, Hardaway, Fontecchio, it's points and threes. And if you pick the right one on the right night, good for you. There's no Asar Thompson on this team, and they do really miss him at the moment. I just don't know when he's returning. But we've got a fair idea of what it is. It's Cunningham, it's Harris, it's Ivy, and it's Duran struggling. Like, they're the real fantasy contributors. And I'm not sure how these other guys are going to step up, or if they're going to step up, to be honest. The Cleveland side of things, what I am loving, and it is 2 games in, are we seeing a full-fledged Evan Mobley breakout? 16-6, 3 assists, 4 steals, 2 blocks. This man so far is the 9th-ranked player in fantasy leagues. I had him in a sort of separate tier to those other bigs of the 4th round, and I'm feeling good about it. It's early. I'm feeling good about what we're seeing so far, and it's great to see both him and Jarrett Allen doing good things at the same time. Now, you're going up against Jalen Duran, so yeah, easy. 17-11 with a steal and a block for Allen. And this time, it was Dean Wade who popped off. 19 points with 5 threes in 27 minutes. And I do think that Karis LeVert should be on rosters, but that's 2 games of 20 minutes. 9 points, 3 steals, and a block. That is okay. I don't like the phrase it plays, but it sort of does play. But if I'm in a shallow format with LeVert at an 8, a 10, I don't think we need to, and we do need to watch what this role is. A little bit better from Darius Garland, 13, 2, and 6. And I'm not going to worry about the overall line from Donovan Mitchell. The Don had 19, 2, and 5. He shot 38%. He went 2 of 4 from line. That's not very good. What I will talk about is he played 30 minutes. And I harped on and on and on about this team in the preseason. And I said, Kenny Atkinson came out and flat out said, big minutes, you're joking. We're not doing it. And he's right. They're not. So, keep an eye on that. 30 minutes only for Don Mitchell. That is why I faded him in round 1. That is why I faded him at the beginning of round 2. Because I thought he could lose 2 to 3 minutes per game. And so far, that is like when everyone else is playing like 31, 32 and he's at 30 and no one's getting 35, 36 there, it's not concerning because again, we were literally told, much like the way that other coaches tell us stuff and lie, but we were actually told this is what I was going to do, but Atkinson had actually proven that in previous years that that's the way that he likes to go about it. The 4th game, the plucky Charlotte Hornets took on the Atlanta Hawks. There was a lineup change here because Brandon Miller is out for a week for the Hornets, so they started unbelievably. There'll be so many people who play fantasy or watch NBA. You'll see the Hornets go, Seth Curry is starting? What are we doing? And that's a really good question. What are we doing? I'm not saying that they needed to start Trey Mann. I'm totally fine with Trey Mann remaining in that backup role. That's okay. But pretty weird to me that Seth Curry is the guy that not only started, but got the big bump in minutes. But how about old mate, number 1 fantasy player, LaMelo Ball? 34 points in 29 minutes with 9 threes, 4 assists, steal, block, big percentages. He's destroying. Remember when the initial ranks came out and he was 28th? And I know it was because of injury. And in the end, he pushed into about 12 or 13. And if he plays 65 games and he's available in March, like at pick 11, he's a steal. The way that he's killing it, it's been really good. And this was a great turnaround for Miles Bridges, who was pretty poor in the first game. Much better here. Usage was up, 31 minutes with no Brandon Miller. But the minutes are a little low, 27 and 5. But you worry about some of those peripherals. And Big Dick Richards had 12 and 13. He's we'll see. Like, I want a big man. I want a big man. He's a guy that gets you some rebounds, some blocks, field goal percentage, but the upside on that is really, really low. As for Trey Mann, the 6th man, I wouldn't be discouraged. If you added him, don't drop him. He had 17 points, and you'll say he killed your field goals, and that's true. He took 19 shots and hit 32%, but you should be encouraged that he took 19 shots because 3 of those extra ones go in, and you're talking about a 22-point performance, and you're absolutely laughing. You are sniffing in the gas. It would be great. Hold him. Cody Martin continues to start and not play enough, or Josh Green's first game yielded 5 points and Grant Williams had 9, and we don't care about those guys from a fantasy perspective. While Tijan Salan, the rookie who was cooking in preseason, is getting literally just exactly 0 minutes per game, which, I don't know, is a little strange. It's a little strange that I thought he was playing well. Now it's like, absolutely not. You are not playing. Good luck with that, and we'll see you around the bend. The Atlanta side of things. This team, I posited this when we talked about their over-unders and said that it might be an addition by subtraction by just getting players who fit better instead of DeJounte Murray. Well, Trae Young said, yes, bet. 38, that's what you say, bet. Yeah, that's it. Bet. 38, 8 and 10. 4 steals for Trae. 85 from the line. Fine field goals. I said LaMelo was number 1. I lied because this man's number 1. 2 guys who there was some debate, like, do we take him in the 8th or 9th? Where do we take him in the 1st? They're cooking at the moment. Unbelievable stuff from both of these players, and same with Dyson Daniels. He did have some foul trouble, so only played 24 minutes, but it doesn't really matter. 18 points, 4 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks. 80% shooting is obviously fake. Now, if Dyson Daniels, he should have been drafted in every single league. If he is available on your wire, there is no excuse. He's got to be rostered everywhere. Has to be. Yes, Bogdanovic was out here, but don't matter. Don't matter. Onyeka Okongwu didn't start, but played 26 minutes. Not as good as the game before, very obviously. 7 and 8. Nowhere near the 22 points or whatever it was. But who cares? The minutes over Capella are there again. That is literally all that matters. Must roster player. I would be okay with holding Clint, but if you said I can't be bothered with having this guy on my team, I actually think that's okay as well. He had 6 and 7 with 2 blocks. I think he's a hold, but in a point seat for Capella, Jack Armstrong, off we go.
Get that garbage out of here.
I know the questions are going to come for 2 things. Do you drop Zach Ricochet? Jackie, what do you think?
Get that garbage out of here.
Yeah, see you later. Jalen Johnson, are you going to panic? Well, panicking does you no good for a start. Doesn't do anything. He played 41 minutes, so there you go. There's your number one. Yeah, I think we're all right. 16 and 7, 2 steals, 2 blocks. Also, you're all right. He shot 27% from the field. Always, and it is a reactionary thing. We become reactive to this stuff and we go, oh my God, he killed me. But look at it and go, how realistic is it that an NBA player who's a power forward will shoot 27% on a regular basis? And then you go, everything else is actually in line. We're pretty good. So don't worry about it. We talked about the worry of some of the shooting stuff from the beginning of last season not holding, and that is true. I don't think that'll hold. But this doesn't matter. These numbers will come up. This is why we talk about small samples. This is why we talk about the 1 week sample size stuff in fantasy, determining or forming our entire opinions on stuff, which is a foolish way to do it. He will improve. I guarantee this. DeAndre Hunter had a really good game. I thought he played really well as well, and the numbers were great. 24 and 7, but I don't trust it. In a 14-team league, go for it. But I would say that a game like this means that any sort of Ricochet starting moment is pushed back weeks. Hunter is a 14-team league player, and I think that's probably where we end on that. I don't think we need to go. I don't think we need to go any further with Big Zach Ricochet. Let's get through the rest of these games. But first of all, today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. You start the season with a big return on FanDuel, you hear? America's #1 sportsbook. You can be sitting down and watching a game. Oh, yeah, you're watching the game. Who's winning the match, you might say? And you go, don't worry, I've got the answer. Someone might say that to you. Maybe it's Derek. You open it up, you have a look, and you go, bang. I think something's going to happen here. So just keep your eyes fixated. Open it up. Look at the odds. Look at the stats. Look at the play-by-play. It is all on the same place on the app. And if you are a new customer to FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, place your $5 bet and you get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. So head across to FanDuel.com. Maybe you want to place a bet on LaMelo Ball or Trae Young for MVP. First and second in MVP. You never know. Put it on over there at FanDuel and don't forget to gamble responsibly. Okay. 5th game. Oh, this was it was sizable, the blowout in this one. It was the New York Knickerbockers. They hosted the Indiana Pacers, a playoff matchup from last season. 123 New York, 98 to Indiana. We'll start with Jarris Walker. Don't be too fooled by it. 12, 4, and 3 in 20 minutes ago. Maybe he played like 10 of those minutes in the final quarter when the game was over. So I don't care. This is almost impossible, except there are multiple people, again, who believe that Tyrese Halliburton in round 1 was a terrible draft pick. And they made that pick. There are people out there who said he is no better than a 3rd round pick. Again, they made those picks. So, if such a person exists in your fantasy league who has Tyrese Halliburton, because there is no sugarcoating it, he was bad. He played 26 minutes, he went scoreless, he missed all 8 of his shots, he had 5 assists and a steal, a horrendous start. And if you want to know just where he sort of is, sitting on a rankings sort of spot, 165th, not great for a 1st round pick, but I beg you all, it is 2 games. It is 2 games. All right? And it has been, and we see this, there's a player that does this every single season. I don't know who the player is going to be, but there is a player who does this every single season. He has started the year shooting 1 of 16 from 3. Now you can say, yep, last season was a fluke. Was it? Because he's 639 out of 1631 in his career. That is a lot of sample size. That is 39.1%. Okay? I feel a lot better trusting that versus him being being Dwight Howard from 3. Like, I feel better about trusting that level of sample, even going back to Iowa State as a 40% three-point shooter. So, it's annoying. It's annoying that his assists are down. It's annoying that he looks disengaged. He's just taking bad shots. It is true. He looks bad. I agree with you. But there's just no way, right? There's just no way this is what he will continue to do. I would be, and you can give as long a leash as you want. I don't think I'd bother with Andy Nembhard, honestly.
Get that garbage out of here.
First of all, he's Canadian, so already get rid of him. But he had 2 points with 2 assists and 2 steals in 21 minutes. It was always hard for me to envisage him doing a huge amount. I put some faith in him maybe as a late round pick just to see if there was a real breakout. Don't think so. I think he needs players out to step up. And that's okay, but that doesn't help us. Miles Turner was still good despite the limited minutes, 13 and 7 with 3 blocks. And Isaiah Jackson came back, got the backup spot. He's not a 12-team league at Isaiah, but 10 and 5, 2 assists, a steal in backup minutes should make you get absolutely liquefied. Something should happen to you when you think about, what if Miles gets hurt? You know what? No, actually, that's not true because you don't want Miles to get hurt. But if he gets hurt, Isaiah will be an immediate and very easy pickup. You also have no business rostering Aaron Nesmith. There is none. Now, I know that when the initial Yahoo fantasy ranks came out, he was ranked at a silly spot, like 107 or something. So he is drafted, and he is like sitting in people's rosters in just far too many places. I'm going to have a look what his actual roster percentage is because it's something embarrassing. It's 82% drafted Aaron Nesmith. That's ridiculous. Nesmith does not need to be on a fantasy roster. He just doesn't. You don't need him on a 10 or a 12-team situation. He doesn't do enough. Yes, foul trouble's got him here, and he will have some games that are better, but you do not need to roster him. Also, rough going from Siakam, 12 and 5, but these guys played 23 minutes. These are all ultimate buy lows if there is a panic merchant in your league. As for the Knicks, Karl Anthony Towns, 32 minutes. Would you look at that? 21 and 15 with 2 blocks. He is not exactly at the level we wanted, but it is absolutely very encouraging. Mikal Bridges, also huge turnaround from game 1, 21 points with 5 assists. And how about old mate, 3% usage legend Josh Hart, 20 and 10 in 37 minutes. He should be rostered. I don't think he's going to roll at 24 usage every night, but that's really, really strong. And also the one that many people ran to grab, one of the most added players, was Juice McBride. He had 8 points in 21 minutes. He had a locker room trip, and he still somehow shot 75%. So this could have been way worse. Juice McBride, as much as I might like him as a player, as much as you might like him as a player, I don't think that there is any way that you should be absolutely anchoring him into your lineup. You just don't need to do it. He's not that good. The opportunities are not that high. Do not get suckered into an opening night shooting barrage.
Get that garbage out of here.
Jericho Sims also much worse in this game because, let's be honest, he sucks. He had 2 points in his 15 minutes. He's a deeper league guy only. Well, Anunoby was like fine. Nothing exciting, nothing terrible, but fine. And fine, sometimes... I forgot to put the little Knicks thing up here. I probably should have done that. My bad. I try not to make mistakes on this, but sometimes we do. Let's just flip it over and put the, I realized I didn't even put the Knicks box score up. Wow, Josh, that is bad work from you. I'm going to put it up now, and then you can pause the screen on it if you're watching, and you can go and have a look at the Knicks box score, because I just talked and didn't even have it up on the screen. So my apologies for that. I'm just going to keep just talking for a bit so you can make sure you pause it and you can go and have a look. And I know someone's going to be in the chat, hey, Josh, the Knicks scores aren't up. I know, but it wasn't live. So, yeah, apologies. Wasn't able to get that done for you. My bad. Try not to make mistakes as best we can, but you know what? Sometimes it happens. All right, let us now move on to the next one. It is Memphis taking on the Houston Rockets. The Rockets really laid it down here on the Grizzlies, 128-108, the final score. Houston gets the victory for Memphis. Really, really low minutes for players. And Ja Morant had the ankle injury in the preseason, and they are just being extraordinarily cautious. They've got a back-to-back coming up here as well, but 24 minutes. Now, he had a comical number for usage, 43%. He had 24 points with 2 assists on 47%, and he was bad from the line. That is not great stuff from him. People might be a little bit worried, but people might also get a little bit out over their skis about Scott Pippen, because I love Scott Pippen. He is one of the best backup point guards in the NBA, and we talked about this from the end of last season. But he got 24 minutes, 13, 3, and 4. I've heard people say, well, they'll just bench Smart and they'll start Scottie Pippen. Almost no chance that happens, like none. And Marcus Smart, again, I'm doing a better job of this. Marcus Smart, absolutely on wash watch. He looks shithouse. What's going on with this guy? He looks terrible. And I actually think in a points league, you can move on from Smarty. In a category league, it depends who's available. But like, say Dyson Daniels is there, like absolutely zero hesitation in swapping Smart for Daniels. Like none. Immediately. Desi Bain was fine, I guess. 17, 3, and 4. But Taylor Jenkins is running a annoying rotation. How many bench guys? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's an 11-man rotation. Steve Kerr tips his cap. And that's going to annoy us. And that's with Kennard, Williams, Jaren, and GG all out. This could be yuck. This could be very yuck. Jay Huff continues to impress. He looks way better than Brandon Clark. He had a Richie Beno, 2 steals, 2 blocks, 2 threes, 8 points in 16 minutes. And he's a two-way guy. So he's only got 50 games. But watch that while Clark just looks terrible. 3 points in 12 minutes. And if I'm going to tell you that Zach Edey sucked against Utah, he did much better here. 13 and 9, steal and a block. Still have significant concerns about how good he is going to be, but doesn't matter. We hold him. That is strong, strong, strong. And the guy that went off last time, he didn't go off, Santi Aldama, because he is not very good. And as soon as Jaren returns, you jack Santi Aldama off. He's just not that good. And he showed it again today. Let's move on to the other side of this game, and I will change the box score over this time. We're talking the Rockets, who get the win after that disappointment against Charlotte. Let's start with the guy again who looked much better, Jabari Smith. He only shot 39%, so that's not ideal, but 14 and 16 and played 35 minutes with 2 blocks. That is something we love to see. Jalen Green, this is a unbelievably weird line because Jalen Green has been volume scoring and not doing anything else. And in this game, he went, all right, 22, 6 and 5, 3 steals and a block. And the fantasy category demon inside of you should have been sizzling at that. And then he shot 38% from the field and went 2 of 6 from the line to just kill your percentages. So what are we doing, Jalen? But to be honest with you, Jalen Green's usage is higher than I thought it would be to begin the season. There's going to be iffy moments, but it's been a really good start. Şengün, I would say, was pedestrian here. I love that he hit his free throws, but 16 and 15 on 39% does not cut it, and it was a big Dylan Brooks game. 18 points, 2 steals. We do nothing but stream him. That is it. Also, a nice stream value for Tari Eason, but that is really all he is. Again, we are very clearly jacking Reed Shepherd.
Get that garbage out of here.
6 points in 13 minutes, and we're getting close. We're getting close to Amen Thompson going, and I love Amen. But 9 and 6, 24 minutes probably doesn't cut it. I will hold. I think 24 minutes is probably the area. If he's at 24, we're good on it. But he's not taking over from Dylan Brooks. He's not playing 30 a night. It's not happening. So we are very much borderline as to what we do with the men here. I will hold for a little bit. And also, if you are worried about Fred VanVleet, let me, again, just talk about this. He had early foul trouble. He played 31 minutes, about 4 or 5 minutes fewer than normal. He had 16, 3 and 3. He hit 5 threes. And out of nowhere, for whatever reason, an 89% free throw guy went 1 of 4. Free throws are the most... Are they? Yeah, they're the most... No, they're not. The blocks and steals are the most variable day-to-day, but free throws are next, and year-on-year free throws are quite variable as well. So don't be shocked when there is a weird free throw performance from a good free throw shooter. VanVleet so far, 118th. Bad start. Don't panic on it. In fact, find the person panicking and do an extraordinary buy low. That's how we want to do buy lows. We make them extraordinary. Like you are. You're extraordinary. I hope that is what you needed on a Friday night. Otherwise, if you're in the comments, tell me what else you might need on a Friday night. Let's move on to the next side of, or the next game, and that is your mates, the Chicago Bulls, up against the Milwaukee Bucks. No change in lineups for either of these teams, but we got the Bulls just pantsing the Bucks, 133-122. And I want to tell you a little story. Who wants story time? Because first of all, I'll tell you that Coby White was unbelievably good here. 34 minutes, 35 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 4 steals, 7 threes, shot 60% from the field. An unbelievably good game. 54% from 3, we love it. 71 from 2, we love it. And just fantastic. I had someone tell me today that I hate Coby White, and I'm just completely not objective when I talk about him. Which, again, if you actually watch the show, you would know that that is some of the biggest load of shit you've ever heard, because I actually love Coby White. But we had an incredible example of highlight reel bias. Now, there's an account on Twitter, NBA University, which I like his account. It's really good, right? But it does the thing. It highlights the big games. And this is what he said. Coby White could have won Most Improved last year. I agree. he was definitely in that mix. And he said, and he may have jumped another level. Otherworldly shot-making talent, incrementally improving defensively, blah, 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 and put up his stats from this game. All right? I took exception to he may have jumped another level because literally 2 days ago, he had 10 points on 31% shooting. So are we using one-game pop-offs to suggest that someone has jumped to a new level? Because it makes me feel and seem like I'm being the asshole that wants to kill joy. But come on. There's a one-game sample size when 2 games ago he was bad does not indicate a new level. And I commented that. And then people, of course, go at me. Oh, my God, you hate him. Oh, what are you talking about? Well, of course he was bad. He played against Herb Jones. Cool. He had Damian Lillard on in this game. So do we say that he only scored that much because Dame was there? No. You need to see more than one, and you can't ignore the bad if you're going to prop up the good as evidence for something outrageous. And you have to, this is, I think, a real advantage in fantasy or any sort of thing that you're doing is to understand that thing. And I know I'm going on about it a lot, but it just bothers me. And and it makes it feel like I hate Coby White. I don't. I think he's really good. I think he's awesome. He was a guy that I wanted to start, and I told you that I wanted him starting last season. I like him. But, like, can we settle down? I don't know why that... Because, again, I can sit there, and I can tell you, oh, my God, this guy, it's all happening here. What does that do? Nothing. It doesn't help anybody. It's not realistic. It's not actually objective. Nick Vooch. Again, I'll be objective. I think Nick Vooch is a bad player. And why am I calling him Nick Vooch? That's not a good way to phrase his name. It's not how he's called. Nikola Vucevic. I don't think he's very good. 22 and 10 with 4 threes. He's undoubtedly very good. And he has been awesome to start this season. The field goal percentage is a little bit iffy, but he got to the line. No defensive stats, of course, but he's looked really good. I'll tell you that. He's looked good. Do I have faith in it long term? Not really. But that's okay. He looks good. It's also a really good game from Patrick Williams, who had 13, 5, and 2 with 3 steals. I'm not going to get suckered into that, but with Williams playing those minutes, Josh Giddey and Ayo Dosunmu's minutes came down. Now, Giddey had a much better game than game 1, but he only played 24 minutes, which should make you go, uh-oh. Oh, no. That's bad, because last season, part of the reason that he had struggles against the Thunder was playing 25 minutes a game. He had 17, 6, and 9 here and 60% shooting, which is great. But 24 minutes sucks. As for low minutes sucking again, 28 from Ayo Dosunmu, who had 2 points with 5 assists on 13%. Now, he will be better than that. But part of the way that he was able to be awesome at the end of last season was playing 36 minutes a night, and I do not know how that happens here. No Lonzo Ball in this one. He'll be back in the next game. Also, a really solid game again from Zach LaVine, who's been really good. They were awesome, the Bulls. And in the best news possible, guess who only played a minute 10 of garbage time? That's what happens when you win by 11 points. Taylor Horton-Tucker is out of the rotation. Bill Donovan. Matas Mazalis had 2 points in 9 minutes. They're not using him because the rookies suck more than rookies usually do. On to the Bucks. Dr. Rivers led them to a loss against a tanking team, while Yanni had 38. I should change the screen on this one. Josh, you just remembered. Yanni had a really big game again, which is awesome. It's great if you picked him early. 28 and 11, 5 assists, no defensive stats, but just like brutalizing your free throws. 8 of 16, that is not comebackable from, really. Dame, also, really strong start, amazing start. And only shot 25% from 3, but 28, 4, and 8. The rest of the team, Gaz Trent, he's a streamer for 3s and steals, not a must-roster player. Brook Lopez went crazy in the first game, still got 3 blocks here, but had, 7 points and 4 rebounds? That's not going to cut it, and that is more reminiscent of the way that Glenn Rivers used him at the end of last season. Bob Portis, 28 minutes for Bob. They just basically use all Portis, all Lopez, or Giannis. And I think that's largely because Middleton is out. Because if Middleton plays, Prince, the amino acid legend, will jump up and play at power forward a little bit more. So for now, Portis' value is improved, 9 and 12. As for the artist formerly known as Taurean Prince, the amino acid legend, he had 11 and 8 with a 3 and a steal. And honestly, he's a top 70 player so far. Now, rankings don't mean shit, really. Like, doesn't have any predictive power. But it means that for streaming, Prince is on. The minutes are there. You can do it. If you want to add him as a short-term guy, I'm not going to say that I love it. But 2 really solid games from the artist at this stage. All right, let's slide it across. We're going to look at the next one. What is the next game? It is it's the Golden State. Oh, God, this game. It's the Golden State Warriors and the Utah Jazz. How do I know what to do about the Warriors, honestly? 127-86, the final score. 86. They have won by about a combined 80 points across 2 games. And they went with the 12-man rotation again, and no one's playing minutes. No one. We'll start with Steph, who played 27. He had 20 points with 4 assists and 2 steals on 35%. That's yuck. We're going to watch his field goals. They dropped a bit last season. Andy Wiggins, 10 and 13 rebounds with 5 assists and 2 blocks, but shot poorly. But is any of this real? I don't know what to make of this Warriors team. I tell you what I can make of. John Kuminga, terrible. 2 points, 18 minutes. 1 rebound, 1 assist. As for the bucket, right, I think that we hold barely. I was in on Kuminga probably mid-September, and I started to look at things more and went, yeah, I actually hate everyone on this team apart from Steph and Dre because the minutes are going to be all over the shop. And Kuminga is actually copying it worse than I thought. I think I will hold, but honestly, if it's 2 more games and he plays 21 minutes, even in a competitive one, then he is absolutely gone. I got no problem with moving on from Podziemski either, even though he had a better game, 15 and 5 with a steal and a block. And the other thing is Buddy Hield. This is one of the all-time hot streaks. All-time hot streaks. It is very easy to say that, Josh, you were wrong on Buddy Hield. And honestly, I don't blame you, right? I was like, I'm not drafting him. I don't see it. There's not enough minutes. And I'm actually correct that there aren't enough minutes. What I'm incorrect about is I didn't expect the man to have 1,000,000% usage and hit every shot in the world. And you think that I might be joking there. But Buddy Hield has a usage of 31%. He has hit 75% of his threes and 60% of his twos. So it is not an outrageous statement to say that his conversion rate from 3 will cut in half. It is not an outrageous statement to say that his usage will also cut down by 7 to 8, 10 percentage points. He will not hit 6 threes a game. He will not shoot 75%. And if he is getting 19 minutes a night, he has got zero chance of being a 12-team fantasy league player. Absolutely none whatsoever. But if you had have added him after that last hot game, you got this hot game and it would have worked out for you. I still like the process, but again, it was wrong. The process wasn't wrong. The result was wrong because he absolutely killed it again. He is going to suck at some point. I can assure you of this, but I don't know when it is. And when he does suck, someone who sucks at the moment, the wave pool DeAnthony Melton, who had 0 points in 14 minutes and we're jacking him,
Get that garbage out of here!
he might be better. Moses Moody might be better. But how do I take anything out of this game? Draymond didn't even get to 20 minutes. 3 points, 4 assists, 3 steals. I think Trey Jackson-Davis needs to be rostered. I think he needs to be rostered. 12 and 9 in 17 minutes. But again, it's just everything about this team is absolutely all over the place. On to the Utah Jazz. They, in the last 2 years, have been really, really plucky, really feisty, really solid to begin seasons, and they have waited too long to pull the plug. So basically, they went to this season and said, all right, tank lineup from the go. And they were plucky against Memphis, and they got cooked here. So, again, what am I taking out of it? Do I care that Walker Kessler played only 20 minutes? I mean, I care a little bit, but it does help to humble us. When if you might have gone, well, look at this, I picked him at 100 and I've got a top 30 player. Well, maybe settle down somewhat. He had 2 points with 1 block. He took 1 shot. All right, that humbles us. John Collins was bad in the first game and had 14, 7, and 4 with a 1-1. Cool. Don't care. This is a weird blowout game. I don't think that we need to roster Collins. Taylor Hendricks, completely scoreless. But he had 7 boards, 2 steals, and 2 blocks. It's annoying that he missed all 6 of his shots, but the role is there and the defensive stats were there. Even Larry Markkinen had an absolute turd. Couldn't hit shots, couldn't hit free throws, had 13 and 8. It's bad. The guy that I would tell you that I am worried about is Collin Sexton, who I thought would lock in at 29 minutes and be efficient. And not only is he not locking in at minutes, he had 10, 2, and 1. He shot 31 from the field and he shot 67 from the line. And I have been an original, an absolute OG, an Uncle Collin Sexton hater. I said, I don't like this guy. He's not good. He's at best a 6th man on a good team. He doesn't pass. He doesn't defend. And then he improved his efficiency. Went, okay, he's actually a bit underrated now. Maybe not. Maybe he is bad. I don't really know how to approach this one. Jordan Clarkson also not good here. But if Sexton's not playing 28 minutes, we do not care. We do not roster him at all. This one's a little bit harder to judge, but not good. I tell you what is good, but also bad, and that's Keontae George. Keontae George was a bad shooter in Baylor. I did not like him as a draft prospect whatsoever, but he impressed when he got to the Jazz. He looked really solid in all their practices and in the Summer League. I went, okay, maybe my evaluation of him was a little bit off. And he was. He's better than I thought. But maybe he cannot shoot. Maybe he just cannot shoot. But what I'm encouraged by is A, he helps them lose. And B, he played 30 minutes, he had 12 points, he took 12 shots, he had 2 steals, he hit 3 threes. I'm not ever expecting him to be a 50% shooter, but let's take that 33, which is 3 for 12. Is it? No, 4 from 12. Let's make it 5 from 12. Let's get an extra point on there. Let's make it a 3. Let's make it 15, 7, and 3, or 15, 2, and 3 with 2 steals. Not that bad. All right, get in there. I like the minutes. The role is secure. The shooting might not ever come. I'm not panicked on it, but I'm not feeling super, super strong. I'm way worse. I feel way worse about whatever the hell it is that Collin Sexton is bringing us at the moment, because that, guys, is terrible. Let us move on to the next game of the day, the second last outing of the day, and that is... Why didn't that come across? My bad. I need to go and adjust that. That's better. Phoenix and the Lakers. The Lakers win at 123-116, the final score. Huge minutes again from Kevin Durant. So, Mike Budenholzer hasn't done the thing that Budenholzer's done. 39 minutes for Durant. He had 30 points, 6 assists, and 65%. I am very worried about his health, but it's been a huge minute start from Durant. Huge. Brad Beal, 15, 1, and 9. He got 1 assist in the first game. He got 9 here. So both Durant and Beal's assists way up. Beal, pretty good start to the season. Not as good for Devin Booker, but 23, 3, and 4 with 4 threes is nice, but he got his shot attempts up and they were well down. So that means that we need to check on what happened with Tyus Jones, and Tyus Jones got by. And they are playing him in that 32-minute role. Now, the Suns, I won't say they've been particularly exciting to start things. I don't understand the Tyus Jones role there. I mean, I know why he's there, but I don't think it was needed, and I'm not sure that it lasts if they continue to sort of struggle around. But 14, 2, and 4 is really good. Yusuf Nurkic was terrible. He was just terrible. 18 minutes. He had foul trouble, 4, 7, and 4. The problem is, Mason Plumlee is way worse. Oscar Iguodala is too small to do anything. So they just run small a lot. And yeah, I don't know how it's going to go. This is a real opportunity for Nurkic to bounce back, and I'm not dropping him, but it looks really bad at this point. Really bad. Grayson Allen didn't play for a personal reason in this one, while Ryan Dunn hit 3 threes in his 14 minutes. We watched that, but we don't need to do anything with it necessarily. On to the Lakers and their side of the equation, because that is a 2-0 start for old mate. What's JJ Redick's name? It's like John James or something. Is it James Joseph? Something like that. Anyway, it's something like that. The Suns and the Lakers. Austin Reaves. Oh yeah. 26, 4, and 8, 3 steals and a block. Elite shooting. Great usage. Big minutes. Talked about him towards the end of draft season, saying that I'd heard from Jovan Buha that the Lakers were going to start to prioritize Reaves over Russell. I went, that's something to... Because I was drafting Russell before Reaves, and I started to sort of pull back on that. Very intriguing start here from Reaves. Now, this won't hold at this level, but very interesting. Well, AD is killing. 17 free throw attempts, 61% from the field, 35 and 8 with 2 blocks. Huge. LeBron, a bit passive. 21 and 4 with 8 assists, but at least he played 35 minutes, but it was a bad night from D'Angelo Russell. Not a good night to be a player that I think is bad. That's not true, because some of the ones I think are bad play well. Russell had 5 points and 5 assists. We obviously have to hold on him. But also, there's another great example of, hey, Rui Hachimura's been doing this for a while. Let's see what happens in the next one. 39 minutes, which is super encouraging. 14, 7, and 2, no defensive sets. Now, to be fair to Rui, it's actually still a really solid line. But 14 points in 39 minutes, it takes a lot to get there. He was bad on both his percentages and brought no defense. If you want to roster Rui, I think it is okay. I don't think it's a super, super, super must-do high priority. But the minutes are obviously there. We'll see what happens when or if Vanderbilt would return, if that has any impact. I don't really think that it will. But, yeah, interesting. Also, Max Christie last game played 11 minutes and had foul trouble. I thought, okay, that's what it is. Nope, he just doesn't play. 11 minutes. Stop holding Dalton Connect.
Get that garbage out of here.
8 points in 13 minutes. He's just not going to have an impact really at any point, at least in the foreseeable future. Shout out to Steve Kerr for this team. I don't really see how that's going to happen, but you know what? That's okay. On to the last game of the day, the Pelicans. They get the win over your mates, the Blazers, and there was a change in the Pelicans lineup, the exact one that we thought it would be. DeJounte Murray out, Zion Williamson in, meaning Daniel Tice continued to start and had 5 points in 18 minutes, but we wanted to see what they would do with Yves Missi, who played the same minutes as in game 1, and what was good. 8 and 6, 2 blocks. You love the 2 blocks. Bad percentages. He's going to feel a bit like an Ivica Zubac with a few more blocks, but fewer minutes. Or Zubats from like last year, or even like a Nick Richards, a guy with a limited cap on what he does. But interesting enough, if you want the big man numbers, he looks better than Tice, and with Murray out, he's going to get opportunities here very clearly. Guys that are going to really benefit from Murray being out are CJ McCollum and Brandon Ingram. 20 and 4 steals for CJ in 40 minutes, 21 8 and 4 with 2 steals in 35 minutes for Ingram. Part of the reason I faded off Ingram and McCollum was too many ball handlers in that starting group. Well, one of them is gone. Zion Williamson, first game back, 29 minutes, 16, 11, and 7. 3 blocks is unbelievable. And why are we getting a Zion game where he shoots 27 from the field? That's weird. He also was bad from the line. Just overall, the blocks are nice, the assists are great, the rebounds are a real surprise from Zion. But why are we getting like bad field goals? That's annoying. Really good game from Jordan Hawkins. And we talked about Jordan Hawkins after the DeJounte situation. I said there was no change in his role. There was no change in his minutes because Zion would straight swap for DeJounte. And that is what happened. Hawkins stayed in a bench role. He played 29 minutes. But because the first column looks really big, 24 points, people are going to froth it. They're going to be all over it. Breakout, here it is, the opportunity. Yes, 24 points is awesome. He will play mid-20s in minutes, I'm very certain. He shot 80% from 2 and 57% from 3. He had no assists, no steals, and no blocks. If this is a game that instead of shooting 67% overall, he shoots 40% overall, let's say 5 of 12 instead of 9 of 12, that's 9 points fewer. It's 13, 5, and 0, and you go, all right, fine, okay. Like, he might be a good shooter. Doesn't matter. No one's this good. The role with Murray out does not change for Hawkins from what it was in Game 1. In Game 1, he was solid. Game 2, he was really good. He is okay to roster Jordan Hawkins. To me, he's a very clear 14-teamer. In a 12, like, maybe. But there are a few things there that you just got to be a little bit cautious of. The other thing that didn't happen is there's no change to Jose Alvarado's role. 13 minutes only. DeJounte out, doesn't matter. CJ becomes the point guard, not Jose Alvarado. Let's get into the final part of this, the final part of the game, and that is Portland. I realize that cuts off a little bit, so my bad. Portland against the Pelicans there. Old mate Jeremy Grant, big game. Even brought defensive stats. I don't know what's going on. 40 minutes for Jeremy. 34 and 6 with 8 threes and 3 blocks. You love to get that from a guy that you picked very, very late. Awesome. We don't trust it, but it's awesome. Also, unbelievably, we got a steal out of Anthony Simons. He also had 24 with 7 assists and shot 30%, but big games there. And old mate Scoot was much better too, and he closed. Now, he only played 29 minutes. Scoot but 15, 1 and 6 with 3 steals. He's the 80th ranked player so far in category leagues. He is 69th giggity in points leagues. He's a must-roster player. DeAndre Ayton played 33 minutes. He had 10 and 15 with 2 blocks. We love that. Donovan Clingan, you will look at this and go, that is really good because he had 4 blocks, and I agree. But it's very, very hard. It is very hard to be a 12-team league player when you play 14 minutes. He did it. Here, he had 4 blocks. But it's almost impossible. As a blocks specialist guy, knock yourself out. But remember, if you're playing a player who plays 14 minutes to get blocks, you got him. But you got no threes, you get no rebounds, you get no assists, you don't get any scoring, you got bad free throws. Is it worth it? For some of you, yeah. But others might need to flip it and reverse it. It just might not work for you. So don't look at this and go, well, there you go. Clingan's taken over. I don't believe that's happening. Now, even DeAndre Ayton got 2 blocks in this game, so I don't know. Also, Denny Avdia. What? 2 points, 11%. On the plus side, 2 blocks and 6 assists is awesome, but he played only 31 minutes. His efficiency stunk. He's fine. Especially while Sharp is out. But again, it's all about expectations. And I thought he would be okay, but I don't see a budding star in Denny. Toumani Camara started again. He played 25. Scoot was in over him. 5 and 6 with a steal. That is just not a 12-team league player. It's a 14-team guy at best. And again, a little bit of stuff leveling out 2 games in. We need a lot more than that to fully level it out. But we're going to get there. That's the day. Now, I will go through and just tell you off the top of not off the top of my head because I'm actually going to look at the list, but I didn't prepare any graphics for it. I'll tell you who the line of the night was. I'm sure you're dying to know who it was. I don't think you'll be shocked. It's Trae Young. He was the monstrous line of the night. The waiver wire line of the night was Jonathan Mobo. The young gun of the night was Jonathan Mobo as well. And the dud of the night was, as we scroll down to the bottom, Collin Sexton. There you go. Collin Sexton's your dud of the night. That is the end of the show. Bit of a surprise one. So if you liked it, drop an eggplant in the chat. Drop it in the comments. Drop whatever you want in the comments. Comment away. And thumb up and subscribe and do all that stuff, guys. We're done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.